Hey listeners, welcome back to WGMI podcast, What the FUD, episode 2. I'm here again with Jack and Buck. We're here to talk about some crappy things that NFT founders did this week. Maybe plus a project that did really well called Moonbirds. Maybe you've heard of it. And I don't really know where to start because there are too many things to FUD.
We start with the good or the bad?
I know, Buck.
Well, let's kick it
good
off.
Or
with,
bad.
Let's kick it off with some FUD, since that's what we're all here for. How about 88 Dynasty? You had whitelist for that, right?
Sadly.
So I did not mint 88 Dynasty. I actually did. I was part of the AMA with Alchemist from Deep End Research and MMC, and the guy, I just got an idea from him that he did not know what he was doing. How many times did he say that he was friends with Takoa?
Takoa. Yeah.
Takoa. If you guys don't know, Takoa is really well known in the space. I think he's one of the project founders of Kaiju Kings. But this guy with 88 Dynasty was just saying like everything Alchemist asked him, his answer was pretty much Takoa. Like it's the meme. It could be like the meme with the flex tape guy with the things leaking and he's just slapping the Takoa flex seal on top of the leak. Like there's literally every answer. Right?
Right.
And then he went into how 88 Dynasty was going to be a breeding. They were going to make a token, but their token wasn't going to be tradable. But then he said it was going to be ERC20 token. So he didn't understand that someone else would make a liquidity pool. And you could get whitelist by buying a t-shirt. It was just, it was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the whole thing seemed like the cringe copy and paste DAO staking breeding roadmap, but Takoa. we're like,
Right,
hey man,
Takoa.
like, what do you need to sell 6,888 of these for? And he's like, oh, we need that money, Takoa. Like, oh, okay. Tell him about his previous experience in business. Did that make you bullish?
Okay, so I'm not personally attacking his personality because that's not nice. But when he brings up his previous business experience as a reason for why his projects can be successful, I think that needs to be talked about. So his previous business was he was selling ad space on water bottles. And that was a failed project of his. Yeah, I don't even have anything else to say about that.
Takoa.
Takoa. Yeah. You mean that you guys aren't sipping on some 88 Dynasty water right now?
Yeah. Well, and they did also have 2020 presidential candidate Andrew Yang in an AMA. So if that tells you something.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, did you not know about that?
Was that
No.
No,
yeah.
I thought that was the Andrew Wayne guy on Twitter.
No, it's Andrew. No, it was Andrew Yang. Yang Gang, bro.
Yeah,
Yang
he
Gang
did because he
2020.
talked about the Relief Ukraine thing, right? That was he talked about the Relief Ukraine thing that Andrew Yang launched that went to zero 20 minutes later.
Wait. So his things to make us bullish was failed water bottle ad space. Andrew Yang or Wang? Which one are we talking about?
Yang with a Y.
Okay. Andrew Yang.
Yeah, because he talked about the Relief.
project.
Yeah.
And then Takoa.
The Takoa. Yeah.
Takoa.
So basically, if you want your project to
on
make it,
Mint
just
Day
interview Takoa and Andrew Yang.
Takoa.
So on Mint Day 2 with the contract, so this will lead into another project I want to talk about. With their contract, they were letting people, their website was glitching, and if you were on the lucky list, I think you can mint one, right? One pre-sale. And they were letting people mint like 2, 3, 5. Like it's like the website was just spitting out some random number.
No,
so people were trying to max mint, and the contract was taking the ETH, but only giving them back one NFT.
Yeah. It didn't actually let him. It'd tell you a number, but you couldn't actually mint that many. I think you could go up to like infinity.
Yeah, so what happens is if you refresh the website and then clicked the plus button for how many you could mint before your wallet like acknowledge whether or not you were like lucky list or what, like whitelist or OG, you could, if you, as long as you got it past 1, you could click plus as many times as you wanted. And when you clicked mint, it would actually show you like it wouldn't give you like a crazy gas fee, so it made you think you were actually about to mint like 20 of these bad boys. When in reality, they just took your ETH and you received one, one worthless NFT.
In their defense, though,
In their
I
defense,
think
they
that,
did refund the ETH.
yeah,
Yeah.
they did refund, so it wasn't like
Yeah.
not like they scammed anyone intentionally.
And it was also the buyer's fault for trying to take advantage of the system. So
That's
a little
true.
bit of the blame.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I guess in their defense, also at least there wasn't a mint loop. It looked like it looked like you were able to mint infinite, but in reality, the contract didn't let you. So props to them on that. That it was more of a website glitch. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that brings me to the other contract debacle we had this week with Haruka. Right. The funny part is, Haruka was actually a decent project in anime meta, low supply, low mint price, so it had a chance. But what they did was they released the contract. It had on mint day. It had all kinds of gas problems. So I tweeted at the official account if they got the contract audited, and the founder tweeted me back saying that, yeah, we got the contract audited, and the audit found these mistakes, but we didn't think it would be that big of a deal.
Why even pay to have it audited then?
Typical founders thinking they know more than people who audit the contract for a living.
It's like you completely ignored the red flags of the audit and launched anyway, and then magically it messed up to what the audit found. It's like, where does this stuff come from?
Like, A, if you think that you're smarter than the guy that you're paying, why are you paying him? B, why not just fix it anyways? Like, you already paid him to find the problems, so it's like just have him fix them. Like, why risk a rocky release that could kill your project, and which pretty much did, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I don't think it's really done anything significant since then.
Last night, but
well, they had to relaunch. They had to redo the entire contract and relaunch again, and then it was stagnant for a bit. It actually sold out in public fairly quickly, and then right now we're recording this on Monday, so as of Sunday night, it started getting some attention. I think people are taking a chance because it's the only unrevealed anime project right now. So it's like Shinsenkai revealed yesterday that did the normal commons pump. I mean, commons dump, rare sell, and then maybe people are buying Haruka, unrevealed.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
well, and Haruka did the thing
Yeah,
where,
as you're
like you said, they stopped the mint and then they got a whole new contract. So then the original what was it 600 that were minted, they just weren't even part of the collection, and then airdropped the people who minted those ones their new one. It was just I don't know. I'm amazed that it sold out so fast, even in public.
Did they?
It's a lot. Whatever they did was a lot more complicated than if they just listened to the audit in the first place, right?
right. Especially scrambling when people are trying to mint. I feel like that's the most vital point of your project. It makes sense. It's who do you want to invest in? Do you really want to invest in devs or a team that cannot even smoothly release a smart contract? These are not the most complex pieces of code. You can look through it. They're not that long and they're not super complex. It just blows my mind how these devs just cannot figure it out. And it really the most important part.
The first 5 minutes will just completely make or break a project too. 88 Dynasty's FUD in the beginning was I think their mint was supposed to go live at noon, and it went live at 12:12. It was 15 minutes late, and people within that 15 minutes were immediately fudding the project, and no one minted. It's if they would have launched the project right when it was supposed to be, I could have seen it doing way better. But just those 15 minutes just ruined it.
Yeah. I mean,
It's just a mass panic too, because I think they closed the chat too, which is never a good sign.
Oh.
I guess even if there's FUD in the chat, you still need that chat open, to explain things, because that's what's going on. Was with the mint, people thought it was taking money from the contract, and then they closed the chat, so there was 20 minutes of chaos,
Yeah, and with how Space the Fast moved, how how fast the space moves. 20 minutes is a long time. So it's like people will already make up their mind in probably about 1 minute if they're going to mint this or not. Like it starts to look a little bit sketch, they're just done. You know, it looks sketch, you close the chat, they're done. Like they're not waiting around to see what happens. They're just like, yeah, this is not going to make it, and it didn't. Yeah. So
and another thing with 88 Dynasty, I think Archimus pointed it out as well, was they were super strict on their collabs and whitelist giveaways. And then like a week before mint, they had like 1 million giveaways. And I think they said it was because they like miscounted the amount they gave away, but it was like hundreds of spots they were giving away. So it was like another thing that was like, did you guys really not communicate that amongst yourselves, or were you worried? I don't know if they were like over allocated or what. But.
Right.
Yeah, I remember when
it's like Buck saying, like, if you can't.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, it's like Buck said, like, if you can't figure out mint day, how are you going to figure out your roadmap?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right. It's step one of your roadmap. It should be to mint.
Like, overall, like NFT projects and smart contracts are like fairly simple things when you look at like the entire world of business. Like there are much more complex businesses with much better plans, aka roadmaps. Like I don't know, it just points towards like, you know, maybe you're not in a position to be launching an NFT project. Like maybe you're just doing it for money if it's not something that you can actually pull off realistically. Mm-hmm. But back to what Jack was saying, it's like I remember when we first talked to him, because I found 88 Dynasty, their first sneak peek, and this was like 3 months ago, I want to say. Like it was a long time ago. And that was at like peak cute 3D anime meta. So like everything. Oh, and they were also they were animated in the first sneak peeks. Like they were like GIFs. So we had like Invisible Friends, which kind of started like the walking meta. So it hit that. We had the Asian meta pumping. And they were cute, you know. Aside from anime, you think of something like Zoo Friends, which is like cute. It's not anime, but it's cute Asian art. So it like checked every single box when the first sneak peek was released, and I was like, oh yeah. And they had Takoa, so I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna hit. So we were like some of the first people to actually hit them up for a collab, and we had to like, it was like pulling teeth to get 50 whitelist spots, and they're just like, oh, everyone wants a collab from us, so we're not going to have a problem giving away all the whitelists. And then it comes to, like, it's a huge red flag for me. If you have whitelists to give out the day before or a couple days before mint, it's like, you messed up, because you should have a community that's active enough and that has enough demand that they were easily given away in the community. Like, do you think that Invisible Friends had spots left over that people just, like, weren't really grinding that hard, weren't really active? Like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you need to be able, if you have no community left to give the whitelist spots to, then you have no secondary demand.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's like, I forget which project the other day, it was on one of the Shroom Tanks, was saying how, you know, their community strong because when they do reactions in the Discord, they get hundreds of reactions on their like announcement post.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's great for you. You get hundreds of reactions. You're trying to sell thousands of NFTs. You see the difference?
Right.
It's like people say it to make it sound good, because reality it sounds good. Like, oh yeah, the community's strong with hundreds of reactions, blah blah blah. But when you break down the numbers, they're just delusional.
It's the same as like, I mean, if you like running a social media account, right? Like you can be like, oh, I get 1,000 likes on this picture, but if you have 100,000 followers, like that's horrible. Like that is a horrible ratio. And I think that like people overlook that type of thing so much, you know. Like if you have 100,000 people in your Discord, you should be getting, like you said, thousands of reactions. I mean, like good examples like Heads, like I'm pretty sure they have a closed Discord, but they have like a really small amount of people in their Discord, but they post a sneak peek, like a third of the members are reacting to it. And that's something that's like, okay, that like, actually shows hype. But when you're, like you said, when you're sharing something and only gets hundreds of reactions, it's like you're not gonna be able to sell out.
It's all a numbers game. Is something that Mr. FUD has figured out and taught me as well. Of like it's all numbers when you look at it. Like, is it going to sell out? Depends on how many in your server, how many on Discord, how many active community members there are. Like, it's literally all comes down to numbers. And founders always act like that doesn't matter. Like, they don't do the math, they don't calculate the ratios. They just go, oh, 100 people reacted. Like, we're we're doing well, but it's like, what are you comparing that to? Like, they have no comparisons. They're just like, in their heads, it like seems good. Like, oh, we have a super strong community because people talk in our general chat. Like, okay.
Well, yeah. And the clicking on reacting thing is a good point too, because like think about it, when you pay for an ad online, if every single person that clicked on your ad bought your product, you would make a ton of money, right? But like it's a conversion rate. So if you have a sneak peek and 100 people react to it or whatever, I can guarantee you not 100 people are going to mint, right? Like you can't see a stat and be like, okay, 2,000 people like this, all right, 2,000 people are minting. Like, no, it's probably a fraction of those people that are going to mint or buy.
Exactly. You need to that's another thing they don't get. If you have a 10K collection and 10K in your Discord, that doesn't mean that you have enough people. You have to calculate like about a tenth of them will realistically mint. If that. So it's like if you're trying to sell out a 10K collection, you probably need like 100K plus in there, and at least like let's say 25,000 active members, because then not even all the active members mint, and you also want that secondary demand. Because another thing that Mr. FUD always points out on mint day, if everyone in the general chat is whitelisted, that's a red flag. That means there's no secondary demand.
Yeah, and to that
and
point,
I hate
too,
when founders say, don't mint. Oh, don't worry about mint. Oh, sorry. Yeah, don't worry about mint price, right? Or don't worry about floor price. That's what everyone always says. Yeah, the founders don't worry about floor price because you're getting the mints. The way that the investors extract value is from the floor price. So when the founder says don't worry about floor, yeah, everyone's worried about floor. What do you mean? Nobody's happy if the floor is half the mint except the founder, right? Because you already got your whole profits,
right?
And sell out, and then what happens? Nothing, right? That's when the slow rug happens.
Major red flag when the founders in the chat going floor price doesn't matter. Like,
keep minting.
Okay, bro. Then mint price shouldn't matter either.
Yeah.
Lower the mint price to what half the floor price is and refund everyone that's already paid. Like if you mint at 0.1, it drops to 0.05. You drop your mint to 0.025 and refund the buyers. Like that's it. It just makes no sense. Like they're like, oh, this is a long-term play. But bro, how long-term is it if on the first day it's below mint? Like that just goes to show that you overcharged. But you'll never hear founders admit that.
Well, and another thing too, I think we talked about this the other day, was like, that's why I think closed Discords, unless it's a project like, Invisible Friends, I think it was closed Discord, like big projects like that, okay, yeah, immediate blue chip. But like, if you're just a everyday project, the closed Discord thing is not going to work, because you're basically asking people to invest into your company without having with having no clue how your company runs or what it's even about. Like, when you make a closed Discord like that, you're limiting your secondary demand.
Right, exactly. I hate when these small projects that are just not going to make it either way, no matter what they do. It's just a shitty project. Okay, no one's going to buy it regardless. But they take like these hype tactics from Invisible Friends, and Archivist and I had a call with a project this week, and it was an anime project, and they essentially said that it's like, oh yeah, I think we're going to do 10K at a somewhat high mint price, and Archivist was like, because they said, oh, that's what Azuki did. And Archivist goes, do you really think that your art is Azuki level? And the guy goes, well, I might be biased, but I would say that ours is better, actually. And they're just like, yeah, okay, next call. These projects, they always compare themselves. They're just like, oh, yeah, I paid someone on Fiverr $65. Like, my art's pretty much as good as Invisible Friends, so therefore I should copy all their tactics. Like, close Discord, hide all the information about my project up till mint date, 2.5 ETH mint price, because that's what Moonbirds did. 10K selection, 2.5 ETH mint price. And somehow in their heads they think they're going to make it. They're like, no, I'm just as good. Like, they're, no one, Bored Ape didn't mint out for a week either, so.
Yeah, and like another thing with that too is like a lot of those people don't realize that those are like the first of their, like, they're able to do that because they're the first of their kind, right? Like, Bored Ape Yacht Club was the first Bored Ape Yacht Club. Azuki was the first Azuki. Invisible Friends was the first Invisible Friends. Like, they're able to do those things because they are like the first of their kind. Like, you can't just copy the project and expect it to work for you, because no one wants your project. They want the real project.
It's a shitty knockoff. And I just
Yeah.
like to add here that my upcoming project, Meta Lambos, part of the roadmap will be 2.5 ETH mint price, because that's what Moonbirds did. So obviously it'll work out for me. And instead of a 10K supply, I'm going to be a little bit creative here and actually do 11-1-1-1, so like 1-1-1-1-1, because my project is just so much better than the others that so just
Well,
so
we need that
everyone
extra
knows.
1,000 for merch.
Remember, we're
for
probably
now.
yeah. We're probably not gonna audit the contract though. So just spoiler alert: we don't know if the contract will actually shut off at 11 or
Whoa,
111.
hold on
So
there, hold on
keep
there.
your eyes peeled.
Do you think I'm stupid? I wouldn't get my contract audited. I am gonna audit the contract. I'm just gonna do nothing about it when they tell me that it's shit. I'm just gonna run it anyways. Obviously,
right,
the
right.
auditor doesn't know what he's doing. So yes, contract will be audited, and I will completely disregard the audit. So when you ask me, when you DM me
Perfect.
beforehand and say, "Hey, is your contract audited? This really looks like a rug," I'm gonna say, "Yeah, of course it's audited."
First 1,000 cement will also be airdropped a phygital version of their Meta Lambo, life size as well.
Yeah, we're trying to bridge the gap between the digital and physical. No other project has done that ever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the first.
And these toys will not melt on your car dashboard if you leave them in the sun.
Oh no, they're an
Oh.
actual car.
I don't know if I
Actual
don't
car.
want to make too many promises. I'd rather over deliver. So don't listen to Mr. FUD on that one. That's TBA.
Heat resistance
the more-
TBA.
The more NFTs you have to build it yourself. The more in it, like on it, you might get like one wheel and then one steering wheel or one door. So it gives incentive to hold multiple NFTs, right? You have to collect them all.
You do have to pay me for shipping though. Like this is not coming out of my
That's
pocket.
right.
Like I'm barely making it by here with an 11-1-1-1 supply and 2.5 ETH mint. Like merch costs a lot nowadays. Just Speaking of back to like the toy thing and bridging the digital and physical, my favorite part of Antonym was how we our friend was a mod in there, and he told us like a couple days before Mint, he's like, oh yeah, by the way, they haven't even like started making these toys. Like they're just now talking to like the manufacturers in China about like how they might go about this.
Oh my
They had
god.
no idea like the logistics of making toys, right? Like they had no idea like the task that it would take.
They don't know how
Yeah,
much
you
it
know,
would
and they were
cost. They
minting.
don't know what it would take. They're just like, oh, we'll get there after you pay us. And like, I mean, not saying that they won't do it. I hope that they come through with their promise and the toys are great and blah blah blah. But it's just like, again, back to these founders of like, what kind of business plan would you just be like, yeah, we're doing this round of fundraising and then we're gonna start looking into how we'd actually carry out this business. Like, I have an idea. I think I need $2 million. I really don't know though. And then I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna run this business. Like, who would invest in that?
Has anyone ever actually delivered on a digital project? Because I'm also thinking like the idea that an NFT, that every NFT in a collection could be a physical product is like such a large overtaking. I mean, you're literally asking a company or manufacturer to produce 10,000 like unique items. Like, has anyone actually delivered on this
And then
promise?
mail it, right?
And then yeah, like that.
And
That's
then mail
like
it worldwide. Like how
Yeah.
do you do that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at McDonald's for instance. You ever got a Happy Meal? Okay, so it is
No.
possible, and their projects are just as good as McDonald's. I don't even know what I'm saying.
I mean, you honestly,
Like-
I'm sold. I'm sold.
Unique toys, yeah, like that's difficult. If everyone got the same antonym, like and again, I'm not saying I'm a toy making expert. Like I honestly don't know, but I wouldn't claim that I do know and then collect your millions of dollars and go figure it out. It's just like
Yeah.
I mean, maybe because like they're making. Well, no, they're not even making the same toy because some of them have different heads and stuff. Okay, so they make
That's what I'm
they
thinking.
make like
yeah.
what 5, 10, 8 different pieces and then assemble them however many they need, and then they do different paint jobs on them. But okay, the ones with like the fur and stuff, because aren't some of them like furry and look soft and all that? Like, If they pulled that off, my mind would be
Yeah,
blown.
and then there's one of ones. Yeah.
I would be more impressed if they pulled off the ones where the heads are floating. If they can find a way to do that, I would love to learn.
Well,
Yeah.
they might need to release
That's overpromising. That's overpromising.
they might need
Realistic.
more money
What do you
for
mean?
that. They need to release another collection.
Bill Nye joins
No,
the
that
team.
I think that's in Web 5 when they figure out anti-gravity.
Oh, right.
yeah, Q4 2027.
This is a long-term play.
Yeah.
The paper handers will be punished.
Long term.
I'm gonna be like
Flickers are
60
ruining
and get my
space.
antonym toy. Yeah.
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 Fudders and paper handers really killed Antonym. It had nothing to do with them not actually having the toys.
Makes sense to me.
So I got
Maybe we should switch to like something exciting, right?
it's like moonbirds.
You want to switch to something exciting and crazy like moonbirds?
Yeah. Tell us about moonbirds. How'd that go?
So, well, I did not win the raffle, so let's FUD moonbirds, and it's unfair and rigged.
It's a shitty
But
project.
I knew something crazy was happening when there was, like, for 20 minutes there was like 500 ETH worth of volume at 10 to 12 ETH floor, and that was like thinking like this is crazy, right? We've never seen this before ever. And then it dipped a little bit, and then it just like went straight up. I think it dipped to like 6 or 7 ETH, and then the rest is history. But like, see, like that's what NFTs are, right? That the exclusive, like, screw you, flex, right? No utility. Even though I think they might be coming out with them kind of.
No. The utility
right?
is like it is a pass into Proof Collective. They are gonna have some
Okay.
utility, I believe.
Yeah, that is something that they advertise. Yeah.
But the main utility of Proof Collective is I'm rich and you're not, pretty much,
Yeah, it's a flex.
right? Just like any other, right? And that's what NFTs are. That's why Bored Apes are Bored Apes. It's just saying that I'm rich and go
And
away.
for anyone that doesn't know, the Proof Collective pass right now is sitting just like literally just under 100 ETH. I think it's like 98 ETH right now. So
Yo, it went back up. I looked at it like yesterday or 2 days ago. It was at 66. Imagine if you scooped one then. Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
oh. Dirty,
Well.
degenerate gains.
So it's like one of these things where you say what's an NFT project, what makes it? It's like one is brand recognition, and that's it. Like, people just want this. People are gonna pay stupid money. Everyone on Twitter is talking about it. Everyone on Twitter is hating on it, which means that, like, as soon as I saw all the tweets hating it, or why is a picture of an owl worth as much, that's when I knew it was gonna do good, because that's just out of jealousy, right?
Yeah. People
There's-
are big mad
that's
they
it.
didn't win the raffle.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and
Like I said,
yeah.
I didn't win the raffle, so I hate these birds.
Right? Yeah.
Proof
You're
sucks.
gonna FUD on Twitter.
Rug,
Yeah.
what a rug. Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do
You got
today.
FUD on Twitter to get the price down.
Maybe they're
Well, I
20
think
ETH,
yeah.
but like Meta Lambos is gonna be better, so I really don't care. Like, it's kind of, they're just stupid birds.
We honestly planned the 2.5 ETH release price before Moonbirds. They just launched before us. So
They stole that idea from
I think they
someone
copied
in my
us.
roadmap.
Yeah.
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 A thing to note about Moonbirds too, which
Yeah,
was
then,
also
then the
crazy.
rest.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay, yeah. It was like
What were you saying about Moonbirds?
the fact that they had. I mean, I think they announced like it was a super quick launch, right? Like, didn't they announce it not that long ago, and then it released and immediately went this crazy?
Yeah, I feel like it was like what?
I think about a week. Yeah, they released
a
the
week.
raffle about a week.
Right.
Yeah,
And before that, yeah, the people. I'm sure that some people did know about Proof Collective, obviously, but it's like I feel like the general majority of traders were not familiar. Like, that's not something like obviously we all know what Bored Apes are, and Bored Apes are a huge flex. But it's like if you had told me a few weeks ago, like, oh, I have a Proof Collective, I'd just be like, what's that?
Right, until you go look up the price, right? And then you're like, oh,
Major flex.
yeah, and it wasn't even what it used to be. Like, it's literally just steadily grown over the last since like the beginning of the year. I mean, I think at the beginning of the year it was at 10 ETH for floor price, and it's just slowly climbed, and then in the last like month has gone up, like doubled in price. So
now the people get me on Twitter and in the space, all the people saying like, oh, this is gonna be the next bull run, right? All these people that are making these profits from Moonbirds from next bull run. It's like, yeah, okay, I agree with that, but they're gonna be buying like the mid-level blue chips, like 1 to 2 ETH, right? Like, bro, nobody's buying your funky fungi. Like, you know what I mean?
Wait.
This is-
So 88 Dynasty is not gonna make it because of Moonbirds. Is that what you're telling me right now?
Right. Nope. Nobody's flipping their Moonbird for 8 ETH and going to run to buy 88 Dynasty. No, that's just not going to happen. Like, these people are delusional,
Yeah.
you know?
I don't even know if it's like yeah, it's a bull market, but I think that it might just be that like traders are getting more experienced, and like when there were fewer collections, like let's go back to like October before then, that it's like you could pretty easily, like it was not that hard to mint out a 10K collection, but you think about how many thousands of projects have launched since then, so the amount of NFTs total was smaller. So yes, the blue chips always did better, but it's like there were fewer, it was like less less spread out. Like the money was more consolidated, even if there were like, let's say, 10,000 projects or something. Well, now there might be 100,000. And also I feel like since then, I mean, I've certainly seen there have just been these big, like let's say Pixelmon, for example, like these big, borderline scams that just sucked so much liquidity out and like essentially punished these people that are helping these 10K projects mint out with shitty founders, shitty roadmaps that they're never going to follow through with. So it's like, I think that people are like learning from that and starting to wake up, and like a lot of ETH has been siphoned out of the market from these types of things.
I think quality's like shining through more too. Like the projects that have succeeded in the last couple of months have been projects that are actually show like promise, Like it's like we're like siphoning or not siphoning, what's what I'm looking for? Like filtering out like the shit projects that aren't gonna be good and then they don't mint out. So yeah, I think it's a combination of both.
Right. I agree.
Well, now we're going to move into the I think the, what do they call it? The apparel meta. The fashion brand NFT meta, because right, that's what we've been all missing, right? That's what we asked for. clothes for our metaverse people.
Merch.
Finally.
Right.
Merch,
So
metaverse
I want to bring up a point. Actually, Dylan does the WGMI AMAs on Twitter. He does a great job. He invited me on stage yesterday with Sixth Rousseau, and what I was hearing was just like, it's just crazy. So the funny part is like Dylan is picking them apart, like, and they're having trouble answering him, and it's like I'm thinking in my head like I didn't even go yet, and like they can barely answer Dylan, and Dylan's a professional, and then so the gist of it is they claimed that they're already an established fashion brand and they're successful in Web 2, and they're bridging the gap from Web 2 to Web 3, because they have a fashion brand. Yeah, original, right? We never heard that before.
Yeah.
So their mint price is 0.16 and they're doing a Dutch auction for 0.4 for public, right? So that gives them a sellout of anywhere between $4 and $5 million. So I asked him, I was like, okay, you're an established brand. Like, what do I know? I don't know these Paris brands. I shop at Target and get t-shirts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I asked him, I'm like, okay, so you're asking investors on mint day to invest $4 to $5 million with you. What were your 2021 and 2020 sales of your brand? She said, well, what do you mean? We don't really have any. We're launching this project.
What? So they've never had a
like,
sale. Wait, they're an established brand, but they've just never sold anything yet.
Right. So I thought I was missing something, right? But so after a couple of back and forth with me and them and Dylan and them, they finally say like, oh, we are established in Web3 already. We have a Genesis collection with a high floor, right? So I'm thinking like, okay, here we go, something I could work with, right? If you have a Genesis collection that's successful, you launch another one, great. After the AMA, I look up the Genesis collection. There's 10 items, right? Total, 10 items total. Mm-hmm. There's been 11 sales total, right? And they're all from a month ago. So like, bro, like literally, what'd you do, a family and friends fundraiser? and that was your big collection? Like, that's not a Genesis collection to me.
Oh my God.
I guess I don't know.
And it's
how
like
much
their whole business.
Go ahead.
So their whole business model is like, so you're gonna mint this thing for 0.16, they're gonna airdrop you a sweatshirt, right? Which again, airdropping you a sweatshirt goes back to the logistics of mailing you a physical sweatshirt, and is gonna be a one like an individual item of your NFT, whatever, right? And then going forward, the rest of their roadmap depends on royalties, right? They're gonna do royalty sharing, they're gonna fund future clothing drops with royalties. And I was telling them, like, you understand that if people don't trade your project, there are going to be no royalties, right? And they just had no answer. It's like,
Wait,
you know, the meme guy that just like blinks and like you hear the sound of him blinking, like it was just silence.
Unreal. Well, dude, like you said, the activity on their Genesis collection, the floor price is 15 ETH. Okay, great. The volume traded is 30 ETH. Like,
and look at the trades. I believe that they're all offers accepted for nowhere near 15 ETH. So this is like one of those like
Yeah, like
Skulltunes
2-3
iron
offers.
Yeah, they're like Skulltunes iron floor where it's like, sure, the floor price is 16, but no one's ever going to buy it at that.
exactly. They just don't want to cut their own floor because there's only 9 of them.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
See, it's like it's so weird because like you got to keep like kind of a professional setting in these AMAs and these Twitter spaces. But I just want to tell the audience like during the Twitter space, like next please, like don't even bother. Like this is not making any sense. Like almost like you want to pause and freeze time and just speak directly to the audience and say like, are you really listening to this? Like, do you understand what they're saying?
you want to like
Yeah,
call
like-
an intermission and be like, this is exactly what we see in like rug projects. Like this is exactly what you don't want to invest in. I love too like go to their website and it's like so cringe. Like they have so the first part is this GIF, but it's like placed in the wrong position. So like the bottom part is completely cut off, and it just shows a blank T-shirt and says most exclusive clothing brand in the world. Yeah, because like one person will be wearing these. I guess that is pretty exclusive. And then
Yeah, there is only 10 items.
Yeah.
then shows some sneak peeks of like really ugly NFTs. Like, hey, the space does not care about 3D art. These essentially look like Kohl's mannequins, and you dress them up. Like these are not, and like they clash so bad. Like I'm looking at the one with the purple bucket hat and the smiley face mask sort of thing and goggles. It's like, bro, what are you preparing to do in that outfit? Is this guy? Is that's Mr. FUD when he's like getting ready to go to Target and buy T-shirts? He's just like, yeah, he's gotta gear up here.
Bro, what I hate about the website too is they have like it's like most exclusive clothing brand in the world, right? Like you said, and it's literally just a blank Gildan looking black hoodie spinning. Like there's not even a design on it. Like it's literally just a blank hoodie.
And then coming soon.
Oh, they're waiting for you to get your NFT to put the design on.
Oh yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
It's just screen printed hoodies with your NFT on it.
I'm just saying, so this is the website.
Yeah.
Like I could whip this up in WordPress in probably like less than an hour and have something better. And you're saying that yes, we need $4 to $5 million to start this company, and it's going to be based on the NFTs because that's what that's what that's what Gucci and Louis Vuitton do. They release their own Bored Ape collections, drop them to Gary Vee, and that's the only reason that anyone knows what Gucci is.
Right.
Finally, my Louis Vuitton Bored Ape can be on a hoodie, so people can see how rich I am with my Louis Vuitton Bored Ape.
Yeah, man, I just don't get it. I mean, I do get it because what's going to happen is they're going to launch, they're going to sell 2,000 to 3,000 of them, and
No,
walk away
not
with
that
what,
much.
$1 to $2 million?
Not that much, dude. I say 2 to
What?
300. 2 to 300, bro. Like no one cares about this project. I've never heard any traders talk about it. I've not heard a single person hype for this. I'm thinking.
You'd be surprised.
Less than 1,000. You think it's
Oh,
2,000?
2,000
Yeah.
what? Still 160 ETH? Not bad for a day's work,
it's still
right?
a lot, right? And then it's like, then another
Yeah.
thing. I think we might have touched on this last time. So they claim that they need every cent that they're asking for. They're not being greedy and just going to keep a large majority of it, but they really need millions of dollars to carry out their roadmap. So when you sell out 10% of the supply, either you were lying before and you didn't need all that money, or you're not going to carry out the roadmap and it's just a rug then because you aren't. It's not like they say, oh, we didn't mint out. Sorry, we're going to refund everyone and you can keep the NFTs because we don't have enough to carry out our roadmap. No, they just keep it, post an announcement every week saying they're going to punish the paper handers in their building. And that's it. Slow rug.
Building.
That's when the sweatshirt becomes a T-shirt.
Because thanks to the fudders and paper handers, we can no longer afford hoodies. We're just going to be a t-shirt and sock brand.
Yeah.
But it's
So
high
that not
fashion.
minting out reminds me. That brings me to Soul Splicers, right? So
Oh,
Soul
let's hear it.
Splicers did that,
Didn't that guy
right?
make
So
submarines?
Soul Splicers. So
Bullish.
he's a submarine dev, so he's so smart, right? So
Yeah.
he's making the greatest game ever. In my opinion, they launched way too early. Maybe he can make a great game, whatever. But him too, he did the whole. He needed the 10,000 collection with the .08 ETH because he needed the 800 ETH to build the game in 3 months, right? He was going to take every single ETH of that and put it into a team to build a game in 3 months, right? They didn't sell out. Now I think the supply is like maybe 3,000 now, so he only got like 240 ETH, and then they make an announcement saying like, "Oh, even if we sold zero, we were still going to make the game, so we're still
Oh,
going to
yeah.
make the game. Don't worry about it." I was like, okay, well, if you're going to say that, why'd you need the 800 ETH for? Make a free mint, make the mint 01, make a 5,000 supply.
Why
It just
not?
doesn't make any sense.
And why not
Yeah.
make the game first? Like if it wasn't like, oh, we're literally running out of money, like I'm living under my desk selling ads on water bottles to get by. Like why did you need to launch now? Like that's what I keep asking. Like why can none of these launch besides Gen Dungeons? Like Gen Dungeons is like a pretty good example. Like the dude, okay, so he's like an indie game developer. He had an idea, he made a cool game, it was playable on release. The mint went smooth, like everything was like he said. Like I saw no bullshit from that guy. It was exactly like he said.
Right, 3,000 supply. Right, that was
Yeah.
a 3,000 supply.
And
like-
I think he deserves that.
No, wait,
ETH
you-
then. It's like does he really, okay, 3,000 supply at like what, 0.1? So that's like 300 ETH or whatever, and it's just
Yeah.
like I'm fine with that. Like is that
Right.
way more than you would ever get paid for an indie game ever in the rest of history? Yeah, but like that's fine because you were completely transparent and honest. We knew that you wanted 300 ETH and you told us that you had a fully working game that we decided to buy and play. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Like you made 300 ETH. Like that's great. Good for that guy.
Yeah, and I think to the point too where you
Wait.
said like how Soul Splicer said that they needed the ETH to, or he said that he needed 10,000 supply to make the game. He totally contradicted himself because in an AMA prior he said that they did a 10,000 supply because he said he didn't want to limit how many people could play the game. He said he wanted as many people as possible to be able to play the game.
Oh,
But then he went back and said they
I don't
needed
think he
it
had
for the
that
game.
problem.
I bet that he also wanted the floor to drop below mint so that there's a low barrier of entry for all these players. That guy was part of his roadmap,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wait, but Buck, you're scaring me a little bit because I thought you knew NFTs, and it seems to me that you don't know NFTs because you just said that you expected the game to be done before mint.
No. I didn't. I don't
Is that-
expect. No. I don't necessarily expect it. I think that should be expected. But you're right.
No,
No, how foolish
I'm
of
kidding.
me. How foolish of me to make such a wild assumption that they might actually have what they're promising us.
Yeah.
Ignorance on my part. I just started, just so everyone knows. I just looked up what an NFT was last week. I don't know who Gary Vee is. I don't know what I'm doing here.
You expect the product before you buy it. Shame on you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
right.
I'm so selfish.
You know, I think it's funny because I do think that's like how the space is changing too. Like, I think how you mentioned earlier, like people are getting smarter. Like, I think people are starting to realize that they're literally buying into projects that have done zero work to get to where their end goal claims to be. And it's just like in the real world, like you're not going to go to an investor and be like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And they're going to be like, okay, so what have you done? And you're like, well, nothing yet. I don't have any money. And then
I work
they're
on
going to just laugh at
submarines.
you. Yeah.
I work on submarines.
And they're going to be like, well, how does that translate to a 2D game?
Well, give me the ETH and you'll
And
find out.
NFTs. No, my friend. Yeah. Give me the ETH first. Oh, my friend. I got to give props to my friend who said that he made the joke that the guy really doesn't work on submarines. He works on ships, and they just sink, so he calls them submarines.
Oh, I'm dead.
Oh, man.
When he said that, I would have me dying during the minute.
Oh,
That's too good.
funny. Oh, man. Hey, speaking of that friend, I actually hosted an AMA with him this week in Nifty Nuggets, and this touches on probably every single point that we've fudded so far. So get this. ROCKETHEADZ. All right, just from the title alone, I'm sure you guys are extremely bullish. You're like, who do I send my money to? So they come on, all right. First thing, so I thought that people were trolling in chat at first because like it looks like a rug. Like literally, just go to ROCKETHEADZ. Like maybe we can pull up a picture here. Like it's literally just like Fiverr art rug looking shit. Like I haven't seen anything like this since maybe like November or December. Like I thought these had fizzled out. But anyways, okay. So I thought that people in the chat were trolling because they kept asking questions about Minecraft. I'm like, oh, that's fucking hilarious. Everyone's trolling them. But then the founder said that it actually is. So you look at this. Nothing about it says Minecraft at all. But apparently, so they're making a game, okay? And the game is a Minecraft racing mod, which you totally can't download for free on the internet. Do not go Google that. There are no Minecraft racing mods ever made, ever in the history. This guy made it up. He invented it. So they're thinking they're going to sell out an 8888 collection. And their Twitter, they've had Twitter since, I think, January. And they have 2,500 followers. The Discord, similar numbers. So I made the numbers point to them. I was like, look, like you guys need demand, and you think you're going to sell out a collection that's almost 4 times as big as your Twitter following. And usually your Twitter following, like, you could get over 100K and still not sell out your collection. Like, Twitter following, you need to really take, like, less than 10% of that to get, you know, even close to what you might mint out. Anyway, so he tells me, he said, oh, it doesn't matter because the community members that we have they're really dedicated to the project. So it doesn't matter that there's not many of them. We only want a dedicated community. And then I love this part. His founder, because I said realistically, you need at least 10 times more users, members than your supply. Like you gotta imagine less than 10% are gonna mint, even with active members. Even if you have 8888 active members, it's not gonna make it. And then his partner made this point, I love it, to like contradict me. He says, well, no, that's not the case because some projects have over 100,000 followers and they don't mint out. I'm like, yeah, and you think that you're going to with 2,500, like trying to like disprove me, like even projects with big followings don't mint out. Yeah, that's exactly why you're not gonna make it. Anyways, so then So I crunched the numbers here, and I crunched them on the low end. He said 0.06 to 0.08. You know that means 0.08. But I was like, okay, let's do it on the low end. Came out to $1.6 million if they mint out. And I said, so you guys need $1.6 million to make a Minecraft mod. Like, you do realize that Minecraft mods are mostly developed by, like, neckbeards in their mom's basement for free? Like, this is not... Oh, another thing. So this guy already owns a gaming studio. So he has a full gaming studio, and somehow this Minecraft mod is going to cost him 1.6 million. And so I'm like, okay, so I was like, so you've been working on this since January. You still have no game. You're going to release before there's a game. You have a full gaming studio, and it's going to cost you 1.6 million. Like, in what realm do you think that this sounds accurate? And he says, oh, no, it's not like we've been working on the game for 4 months. We've been writing the lore and working on the art. I'm like, motherfucker.
Working on the art.
Just look at the lore. Art. Like, just look at the art.
Remember, that's how Jack picks NFT projects.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, the lore, yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Jack picks NFT projects with lore.
I'm just like, what kind of in-depth lore do these things have that it's like, oh, they have like this whole like, I just can't even imagine. It's like, so dude, you guys have been sitting down writing stories about Fiverr art for 4 months, and you go, yeah, so this is why we deserve 1.6 million. So regardless, then I was like, okay, there's no way you can convince me or anyone else, even at this point, even if everything you said, you haven't even started the game yet. Okay, yeah, that's super bullish. We haven't even started on it. We're going to after you pay us. Right, fine. But in no world does a Minecraft mod, you have a gaming studio. It's not even like you have to pay, like, it doesn't cost $1.6 million to develop that. And he says, well, we need that to carry out the roadmap. I'm like, wow, you need $1.6 million to punish the paper hands, really? That's a lot of punishing.
I think the dude is just like, it's like if you go to the website, he just has his face like all over the website. It's like, I feel like it's just like an ego thing. And then like his bio is like twice the size as everyone else's. And then he says he's a VP of a major development studio, but quit to focus on ROCKETHEADZ.
Yeah, he quit. It didn't fail. He just chose to quit. He just like
Well, he was VP of product, bro.
he's like I'm making a lot of money here. I'm just gonna go make $1.6 million on a Minecraft mod. So I told him, I said yeah, okay. So I asked him the question. I said, so what happens when you don't mint out? Because you're not minting out. I didn't say what happens if you don't know. What happens when you don't mint out? Like, what do you do then? And he goes, well, I'm an optimist, so I don't even like to consider that we might not mint out. So, like, no plan. Like, I haven't even considered what I would do then. So I said, wow, that sounds like a terrible business move. I was like, you said that you're in business and you run a gaming studio and whatever, and you haven't even thought, it hasn't even crossed your mind, what do you do if you don't mint out? And he's like, well, no, because since I'm in business, like, I'll get creative. You'll get creative. Wow. Okay, like, literally pitch this to anyone else. Like, do you not hear how ridiculous you sound?
It's just like anyone thinks they can just have a shitty idea and sell it out and make a bunch of money with NFTs.
What's he gonna do, pro?
You make a Genesis collection, right? You cut supply, you make a Genesis collection, and you put an announcement once every 2 weeks in the chat, right? Thanking the strong community. You blame the fudders and the paper handers, and you that's it. That isn't that how it works now?
Yeah.
Well, you forgot one thing.
What?
You forgot to tell them that you were building.
Building. Yeah.
Oh, right. You're building and breeding, right? So you make the Genesis collection, but then you can make them breed, so you could get back to your original number.
Yeah.
What's better than 2 worthless NFTs?
And 3
worthless NFTs.
I'd just like to mention that will be in the Meta Lambos roadmap. Breeding. Yep.
Another idea that ROCKETHEADZ or any other project has stolen.
I'm stealing. No. I'm stealing that from ROCKETHEADZ. All of their ideas are 100% original. I'm actually just stealing from their roadmap because this is obviously the next Bored Ape. And then his other point of why this is going to be a success, he kept like acting like he's like, when I'd bring up these points, he'd be like, well, I'm doxxed. Like, I showed my face. Like, this can't fail. Like, I showed my face on the internet. Like, it can't go to 0. Like, I'm just like, bro, you know how many rug projects that where the people did dox themselves? Like, why is that a bullish point? I hate when people say that. They're like, well, the team is doxed. Yeah, that means nothing. Like, what is this dude giving you his address so you can come punch him in the face when your rocket head goes to 0? Like,
oh my god.
I mean, yeah, I'll dox for Meta Lambos. Fuck it. Like, then everyone can put a face to who rugged them and like put me on a dartboard or something and be like so mad at me.
Well, rugging isn't until Q4 of 2023 for Meta Lambos.
Oh yeah, that's after I get my money.
Right.
Yeah, that's phase 8.
See, we will put that on the roadmap, so I don't think people can say anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we tell them we're gonna rug them, I don't think it's an issue.
Right. It is, at least we're being transparent. And I mean, I'm doxxed, so like, yeah. Oh, one last thing about this project. Okay. Their token is crank. It's a crank token. And we're just like, how did you come up with this name? I don't even remember what they said. It was so stupid. But it's like crank, like wow, this guy really knows how to get creative, but yeah, I don't know. That's my rant for ROCKETHEADZ. If you mint, you might want to.
So there you go.
Life.
Right. There you go. Bullish thoughts on Rocket League from ROCKETHEADZ from Buff.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah.
Yep. We gotta.
Yeah,
get
man.
them
It's
on
just like we say.
Go ahead.
We probably sound repetitive, and the reason why we sound repetitive and we're going to keep sounding repetitive week after week is because this keeps happening week after week, right? And it's like there's just another new project to make fun of that does the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, but it like they all one up each other in their outrageous claims, and that's what makes it fun. Well, not fun if you're investing, but fun if we're talking about it.
Like the lies get better. Like that's the thing that they improve.
The promises improve.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, ROCKETHEADZ would probably make it if they had Takoa. but I didn't hear him say Tacoa, so I'm gonna assume this is a rug. One more thing to add. One more thing to add about ROCKETHEADZ before I forget. So then I said, I was like, why don't you cut the supply? Like, I was like, he said something about, oh, we don't need 1.6 million to really make the mod. So I said, okay, why don't you cut the supply in like a quarter and make it like a free mint or like 0.01 or 0.02 or something? And he's just like, we'll consider that. Meaning like, yeah, no. But he said, when I said about get creative and like, what are you going to do? And he said, well, other projects are happy to pay us 10 ETH to make them a custom roadmap in our game that they can race on. So I said, okay, so why don't you make it a free mint and carry out the roadmap with all these 10 ETHs that you'll be getting from other projects? And again, blinking guy. We will consider that. Great suggestion.
It's like, and they all say it's not about the money, right? Or it's not about the price.
It's about
right?
the community.
It's like everyone says it's not about. Every founder says, "Oh, it's not about the price." Especially the ones that don't want to tell you, like, "Oh, we'll tell you the supply, but we're not going to tell you our mint price yet." When they say we're not going to tell you our mint price yet, means they're thinking and gauging the hype of how high they could possibly go on the day of mint, right?
Yeah.
But don't worry, it's not about the price. You don't have to focus on that.
Yeah.
It's like it's just.
Same
Well,
with
it should be is like you should figure out what you're going to do and figure out how much it's going to cost you to do that, and then launch your project. Like it's right as you said. Like they literally will not pick a mint price until they realize how much they can squeeze out of you.
Like all the planning is backwards. It's like money first, and then we'll start thinking about what we want to do, how we're gonna do it, who we're gonna hire, and then by the time that they realize, like, oh, starting a business is hard. I already have the money. Like. And another thing that people need to consider, especially if you're new to the space, and I get it, like I've been a noob too. Like I used to think, like when I first heard of a DAO, I thought someone explained it, oh, it's like an LLC, and I actually thought, I was like, wow, that's like a really good idea. Like these people are getting creative, and like it wasn't a bad idea the first time, but it's like you don't understand, like if you're new, you haven't been around to see enough of these fails. So hearing like doxed founders, DAO, staking, token, game, it's like you have nothing to base it off of, so you just kind of like believe it because it's like your first project. Like if ROCKETHEADZ is your first project, you might really believe that this will be a success. But consider this. So indie games have been around for a long time, and I've been into, before this I was super into PC gaming. So there's a lot of games on Steam because they make it, pretty easy for indie developers to get on their platform. And they will build an entire game, or at least to the alpha or the beta, and then sell it for like anywhere from $5 to $15. And then they're able to, keep building the game. But it's like when has ever, in the history of ever, have they been like, give us like $800 and then we'll start working on the game. But trust me, it's going to be dope. Like, how does their business model, and like a lot of these, like, like Terraria, what's the other one? I mean, there's been a lot of successful indie games. But they
don't starve together.
Yeah, don't starve. Like there have been a lot of these really good games that are super fun. And it's like they made the game first and they sold it for a decent price. People liked it and they were successful. So you really got to think like Web3. It's like you can't, just because it's Web3 doesn't mean that like every business plan should be backwards. It's like, no, it's just that there's a lot more scams because right now it's the Wild West. But yeah, if the Minecraft mod is 2 months off, like, what do you think is going to happen in that 2 months to your NFT? Do you think that it's going to gain value or absolutely dump upon mint?
Well, and like your point about the indie game thing is like, people make indie games that like because they like making games, right? And I think that just shows a difference between a cash grab project and one who actually wants to make a game. Like, if they really wanted to make a game, they would just make the game, right? Like, it's not like someone who wants a photography business is like, oh man, I just really want to take pictures, but I can't take pictures until someone pays me $1 million to start my business. It's like, no, you're just going to keep taking pictures and start selling them until you have a business, right? Like, if they have a game built already, or that's like almost built, like it's probably an actual project that has some steam behind it. But if they're not building it at all, like it's probably not a passion project for them.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more on that point.
Well, I don't think they build in Web 2, right? Web 2 doesn't require building, aside from, I guess, the actual physical buildings. Right. Only Web 3. Web3 needs all that money because they need to build.
Shout out
Yeah.
K Money. Building.
I'm doing the hands right now.
Yeah,
I'm doing the hands right now. I actually have not stopped doing the
K-Money,
hands the
yeah,
last
shout out to
hour because I've
K-Money.
just been building.
That's what we're doing here.
You can't build when your hands are like that.
I think that
Yeah.
I honestly think we kind of jumped the gun on this podcast. I think we need to stop until someone gives us $3 million, and then we
Yeah,
can
let's
make
do a paywall.
podcast.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So no
That's
more
right.
weekly
Sorry, guys.
Mr. FUD until you guys cough up $3 million. I
Yeah,
need
we'll
it.
put our wallets below.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think next episode we should have a cameras on all of our hands doing the building hands for an hour straight
Yeah.
too.
And then we can say that we're a docked team because, like, you see our hands. We're obviously building. This is not a rug.
What do you mean, Doc's team? Wait, our PFPs are on the screen. Is
Yeah,
that
that's
good enough?
actually
Right,
me.
right. That is me. Yeah.
That's
I
probably
think
better,
swimming pool
right?
of piss.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you can put it. You can put a face and a voice to who's stealing your money.
All right.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
I like it. This is fun. I want to thank the listeners for making this happen. You guys must have done something because Brett and Kosher and Bento are let us come back again for another week, so that's cool. So I guess we'll wrap it up here. We'll do another episode next week, and like I said, if you see us in Gen Chat around, say hi. I've been hanging out in the WGMI Gen Chat. Come visit us in Deep End Research Gen Chat, and we appreciate it.
Thanks for listening, guys. Catch you
Later.
next week.